Woo! We are back in studio. What is going on, everybody? Everyone in here. Thank you for clapping for us. We have Stephanie in the house. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday.
Hey.
Obviously, you had nothing better to do than come jump in the trailer and put some headphones on and talk into a microphone.
I mean, it is what it is. I have a turkey in the oven at home, but you know what? It is what it is.
So you are a woman of many talents.
Many talents.
Now, for those who don't follow you on Instagram, you don't do them much anymore, but you used to always come on and do like these daily briefings or the motivational, like, what happened to those?
You know, I just got really busy with work. I got a new assignment. They put me back down in Menifee, I should say, in April. And really, life has gotten very busy. So it's kind of taken a little bit of time. I am one of those people that I cannot concentrate on videos and drive at the same time. So some people are very talented with that. I am not. So it's easier for me to just concentrate on other things. If I get up any earlier in the morning, I'm never going to be able to get up on a daily. I get up already early. I can't do the extra.
Okay.
Just can't. It's a lot.
And you did a lot of those in your car, though, didn't you?
I did before I started driving. And I've been told I need to get back into doing that because I did have a lot of fun with that. So.
Well, and I loved because there was a message to it. You know what I mean? Like if you were having a bad morning, you'd be like, hey, listen, cheer up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, damn. All right, cool. You're right.
And I'd hit the screen. Stop
Right.
it. I know what you're feeling right now. Stop it.
It was animated.
Yeah.
I missed that. Well, I'm sure other people miss it too. So if we can get that back at some point, then that would be awesome.
You got it.
So I wanted to talk to you about a few things, but your son was in the Marine Corps, correct?
Correct.
What did he do in the Marine Corps?
So he was, he didn't intend to end up where he ended up, but he was with the MARSOC, and he was transportation support.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then do you want to tell people what MARSOC is?
So MARSOC is a special unit with the Marine Corps, and they did special things. So that's usually how I put it. It's, Army's got their Green Berets and
Special forces,
right. So he did a lot of high-ranking transports.
Right on. Okay. How long did he serve?
4 years.
So he did 4 years, and then he's out now, correct?
He's out now.
Okay. What when you were growing up, did you have any type of military in your family? Did you have anybody that served where you kind of saw what they went through?
So my grandfather served in the Air Force. I have uncles that served in the Marine Corps. I have uncles that served in the Army. I have cousins that served in the Marine Corps. My goal was to go into the Navy. That didn't happen. I ended up staying home and having kids. But that was definitely in my mind because I was around that type of environment growing up.
Okay. And did you, you said your uncle and your grandpa? Mm-hmm. How were they? Did they see combat?
Yes.
Okay. And then how were they, in everyday society? How would you say they were or still are today?
Well, my grandfather, Vietnam veteran, and definitely was one of those, you don't talk about anything as you're growing up. You kind of say, well, Grandpa, how was it when you were a kid? Or, how was Vietnam? Nothing, silence. It was one of those things that he believed in going to work and providing, and that's it.
Right.
He didn't talk about his feelings at all.
That was what I did then. We don't need to talk about that.
We don't need to talk about that. My uncle, who we talk now on a little bit of a regular basis, he was one of those that they didn't talk about their feelings either. Men had a specific role in society, and women had a specific role in society, and you didn't cross. So, now as we talk, I always tell him, I said, you're an asshole still, but you're a special kind of asshole.
Right.
So I can, we tolerate each other that way, because when I was growing up, he was hardcore. The kids were definitely in that place where it was better to not be heard or seen. Go out and play. I don't want to talk to you guys. Don't be in my space. Don't get in my shit.
Right.
But now he recognizes that that was not his intention. That was really the way that he was raised. So it was a little bit different, now that we're adults, and then we can talk about certain things and we go back into some of those memories. And he actually talks to me about certain things now that he would have never opened up to before.
Okay. And back then it wasn't really, nobody talked about men's mental health, or
No.
it wasn't, it just was what it was. And then if you talked about anything, you were a little bitch.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you were damned if you do, damned if you don't. You kind of dealt with it, and a lot of guys didn't know how to deal with it, so they went to alcohol or they went to drugs.
Right.
So you got to see, growing up, the effects that war causes.
Right.
On a
Because
person.
my uncle and my grandfather, a lot of the men in our family were so hard on all of the male children.
Right.
Right. And so when my mom, she got together with my stepdad, he didn't have kids at that time. He had, we had my brother, my little brother, and my little sister eventually. But he was hard on me because I was the oldest and he didn't know how to deal with his own issues. And I've seen that all over the place, So, growing up, you see a lot of things. You don't understand why those things are happening. But you kind of take it and you just kind of move on because you're a kid. You don't have any voice.
Right.
Because you're not told that you can have a voice, and it's been extremely detrimental to the men in our family. It's been detrimental to my generation of cousins growing up on both sides. So there's a lot of things that we see now that we understand and that we're trying to change those patterns.
That you look back, that you're like, damn, that makes sense now.
Yep. All the holes
Gotcha.
get filled.
Right.
So
Is that because we're more open nowadays to talking about things, and more guys are openly talking about their issues that they're having, and you're like, oh shit, there's a checkbox. Okay, check. Yeah, well, damn. Hey, he's seeking treatment for this. Everything he just described is everything I notice about you. You might want to get checked out. But then most guys are like, nah.
There's still that stigma, right? If I talk about it, then I am a bitch, right? And people are going to think I'm weak.
To some, yeah, because they think they're going to use that as ammunition against them.
Right.
If they're, divorced.
Right.
And there's custody, God forbid the man openly talk about the issue he has, because she's going to take that to court.
Right. And it's okay for a woman to openly talk about, the bottles of wine that they just drank and they're partying, right? And all of the stuff that they're going through mentally, and they'll put it on social media. But as soon as a guy does it,
right,
then it is, oh my gosh, I can't believe.
Unfit father.
Unfit, right? They're not allowed to talk about those things. They're not allowed to be out with the guys having a beer. They're not allowed to be doing all of these things. What's going on, right? Oh, take them back to court. And I've seen that with a lot of the people that I've gone to school with and a lot of people in my own family. So, mental health for me is a huge deal because I went through my own ups and downs. I still go through it. There's a lot of stuff that still triggers me as a person. But I know now different things to help me.
Right.
And then it makes it easier for me to help, people like even my son. So that it's a big deal for me.
So now let's through high school, did your son talk about this is what I want to do? Did he ever mention military? Like, when I graduate, I'm going to the Marine Corps.
So being a Marine has been his lifelong dream.
Okay.
He combat crawled before he could even walk. And that was his thing. He just wanted to combat crawl everywhere. He was constantly making tents. He was always playing the part. And it was a big deal for him. He talked about it growing up. That was his deal. And when it came closer to time for him to graduate. You know, he could have gone off and played football somewhere. He was excellent at football. He was excellent at a lot of things, but that's not what he wanted to do.
Right.
He wanted to go be a Marine. And so he did. He said, I'm out of here.
Any particular reason why Marine Corps?
It's always been the Marines. And to be honest, I don't know why. He's always been stuck with that, you know, and I was always afraid of it because, you know, Marines are the first ones in, right? And I've seen a lot of things growing up, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be tough on me.
Right.
And it was. It was. And one of my friends is like, look, you have nothing to worry about. And he would tell me that all the time. You have nothing to worry about. You know, he's going into a badass Marine Corps. And that was always like what people would tell me. Don't worry. It's badass. It's badass. Yeah. But a lot of people suffer no matter what branch, you know, but
right.
his experience was Marine Corps.
So he enlists. Did you know he was enlisting? Did you know he was going down to the recruiter and saying, "Hey, I want to jump in here and, you know, sign up"?
Oh yeah. It was, you know, peace out. I've signed the papers. This is my day. You know, can somebody drive me down to MEPS? Okay. Drive him down there. You know, it was a family event. I took his brother and his sister and at that time his girlfriend, and we all went down there.
Is he still with her?
He's not.
That's funny.
Yeah, he's not, which is fine. I mean,
it's not funny, but it is.
It is. To me, it is. But, you know, he's married now.
Oh, okay.
And they're doing great. But it was an adventure, the whole thing.
So you take him down there. He goes to boot camp. He comes home for 10 days. Right after boot camp, he gets 10 days off. Then he goes to MCT,
Mm-hmm.
right? Marine Corps training, or what? I don't know what they call it. Marine Corps combat training, or what is that? I think that's like a month and a half or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes. Did he know what he was going to do when he went in?
So he initially wanted to be infantry.
Okay.
And at the time that he was signing all of his paperwork, and that's what he put down. And then he got a call, and they said, "Look, we have an opening for transportation. If you take it, we can get you to leave quicker. If you want infantry, there's an extension on time because
Wow.
they were not taking infantry at that time." So he was like, "How quick can I leave?" Right? He wanted to go.
Right.
So he gets the call that within that timeline. I mean, it was quick. It was just maybe a couple weeks.
Okay.
And at first I was like, "Oh, we've got plenty of time. We're waiting. He's going to take infantry." And next thing I know, it's like, "Oh, this is my date. I'm out." And then it was like, "Oh shit, this is a reality." There's a lot of parents that will say, "Hell yeah," right? And I was always a hell yeah parent until it hits you.
Right.
And then it's like, man, even though we're not at war, right? There's still a lot of stuff that goes through your mind. And then at every level that they go through, there's another type of anxiety.
Right.
And there's another type of worry, right? Is my kid getting enough to eat? Does my kid have, you know, extra money? Can my kid afford this? How's he getting around base? Is he cold? Yeah, he's in the barracks, but that doesn't mean that he's warm.
Did you send him any type of candy and stuff?
All the time.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would have been pissed. Did he ever write you and say stop?
So I didn't send him anything while he was in boot camp.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like in boot camp, did you ever send him any?
But my mother-in-law did.
Oh.
And her and I, you know, bless her heart, that I know that her whole thing was to take care of her grandson, right? Because that was her baby. But the conversation I had with her was, if he's in the middle of the desert out in Iraq somewhere,
you're going to send him
you're going to send him a drone to drop, you know, a care package?
Right.
This is not how it works. This is not how it works. Let him go through boot camp. You know, I know that he wrote letters, and he wrote letters to myself, but I didn't want to spend too much time coddling him. I needed him to grow up, because that's what he wanted to do. Let him
Right.
live his dream.
Right.
Let him live it on his terms.
Cut
Cut the cord, right? There's so many parents that don't want to do that. I get it,
Right.
but you're just prolonging the process.
The inevitable.
Right.
So, do you know what happens if you get candy and stuff in boot camp? Did he tell you?
So I've heard through quite a few people, you either share it with everybody, you got to eat it all.
I've never seen anybody share.
Yeah.
That there was never an option to share. It wasn't like, oh, hey guys, fucking mail call. Guess what? Stephanie sent us a box full of 3 pounds of M&Ms. Guess what, Joe Schmuckatelli, you're fucking eating that shit.
Right.
And don't stop until it's gone.
Till it's gone.
Oh my God, I used to throwing up on the quarterdeck, and yeah, it was. So you never sent him any candy. You never did.
Nope.
And he went through boot camp 3 months, no problem.
No problem.
Never, no injuries.
No injuries. I know that he got really sick. They all got really sick at that time. It was like pneumonia and everything else. And you just keep on going through it.
Right.
It's not like you can go sit a week over in, medical. They're not going to let you do that.
You get recycled.
Yeah.
You
And
have to retrain again.
Right. And he refused to be that person. So he just went through it.
So he gets out of his school. He goes to where was his first duty station at?
So he was in, he did his time in Missouri, South Carolina. Then he was actually stationed over here at Oceanside.
Okay. And then how long after he was in did he get deployed?
It was 3 years, well, 2.5 years. And then it was like, hey, guess what?
So you're thinking like, hey, I'm cool with this so far.
Yep,
Right?
I'm cool with it.
Right.
Because they were short spurts, right? Training here.
Right.
Oh, they're going to go ahead and now they're going to send us, to South Carolina for training, heavy equipment training, pulling that stuff out of the mud, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I mean, I've got some pretty cool pictures that I was given, and I'm thinking, yeah, we're almost
in and out.
This is going to be awesome.
Right.
And then it was, okay, well, now they're talking about deployment. And I'm going to be real clear because a lot of people think, oh, well, deployment's only when there's wartime. No, incorrect. Deployment is when you're not at your duty station where you're stationed and you have to go somewhere else for a specific amount of time. And he was thinking maybe he was going to go to Okinawa, and they said, no, we need you to go to Afghanistan, Iraq. And that was tough for me.
Did he tell you in person or did he tell you over the phone?
He told me over the phone.
What was the feeling? What was that like, hearing those words saying, hey, I'm out of here, but that's not the hard part.
Yeah. So, at first I was ecstatic to hear from him. And then I was really like, you're on the phone and you're ecstatic because you're talking to them. And then all of a sudden, like this heat wave hits you and then you got a cold sweat, right? Because now it's like, oh shit, this is a reality. This is going to happen. And it's weird for a parent because you don't have any control.
Right.
And we're used to having control over our kids, right? We're used to being the main programmer of our children, because that's really
right.
what it is. And now they don't belong to you, right? Their ass belongs to the military.
Government.
Belongs to the government.
Yep.
Right? And they always say, well, the government's now your mama.
You can't go see the principal and
who are you going to complain to?
It ain't happening.
It's not happening.
No.
So when that initial shock kind of came over me, I was like, okay, I can do this, right? I was kind of out of it after we hung up, and I was kind of out of it, and I was like, damn, right? Okay, breathe. We're good.
Right.
We're good.
How much time did he have from calling you and telling you to leaving?
If I remember right, it was only like a week.
Oh shit.
And when he, we all jumped in the car, we went down there before he left, and it was like the last 3 days, it was like Saturday, Sunday, and then he was leaving on Tuesday or something like that. And they were going to have to fly to New York before they went over. And when they got out there, or Maine, I think it was Maine, when they got out there, they only thought they were going to be staying a certain amount of time. Well, they ended up getting stuck because of all the weather and everything like that. So they were in this hotel staying in the ballroom. And now there's a whole nother fear. Okay, my son went over there. They're not sleeping right. They're not eating right. He hasn't taken a shower in 3 days because he's stuck in this place. They don't know when they're going to get him on a transport plane to get him where they're going. So there's a lot of mom fear that goes into all of that. And, back when we were growing up and I had friends that left high school and went to the military, right? It's like you never heard from them ever. They never even called their parents. But with technology now, you can FaceTime somebody, you can, call somebody. It just think about it and make the call. It's not like it used to be.
Right.
So the communication is really like adding to the anxiety because now you're hearing it blow by blow.
Because there's an expectation.
Right. And it was really difficult. When he finally got, to his first place, he said, "Hey, we're getting on a plane," and I was like, okay, well, at least they're moving. And then when they got over there, they went into Afghanistan first. And I was like, okay, well, at least he's where he's supposed to start. And then it was, oh, well, my whole unit went ahead of me. I stayed back. I'm the one who had to stay back. I'm like, why? Don't worry, Mom. I'm on an Air Force base and I'm eating good food and taking classes and, check it out. They have a KFC on base, just stuff like that. And I was like, okay. But then when it was time for him to go to Iraq, I knew it was on. And it was all the months he was out there, 7 days a week, whenever they needed him. And it was all the time. And he was doing high priority transports, and he had sent me a picture and it was so hot over there, and he can't be in a uniform, but he's got to be, still with his vest on and all his equipment, and just to see him so drained.
Right.
And that picture still kills me to this day. Because
him being gone, how did that affect your mental health? Did you suffer depression? Did you go through any type of changes yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you go through the damn, I'm going through so much anxiety thinking about, okay, I know he's not sleeping because I saw that picture.
Right.
Right. He's telling me about this. He's telling me about he can hear the fighting, and then the news comes over and, somebody from a MARSOC unit, a different unit, but still a MARSOC unit, got killed. Right. And they were ambushed. So it is just, it is playing.
Hamster doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop, right? So then you're not eating right. You're not thinking right. You can't even concentrate in your job. The house is a mess because you can't get it together. I went through every single one of those emotions.
So your life almost gets put on hold at the same time.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right.
To hear that point of view from a mom.
And I don't think we talk about a lot of that, there's a lot of things we don't talk about, but on a mom's point of view, I always tell people, I said, moms have a different relationship with our kids. Doesn't mean everyday physical relationship. Our children are the only ones that know what our heartbeat sounds like from the inside.
You're talking that physical bond.
It is a physical bond.
Spiritual bond, whatever you want to call it.
So, when we know that something's not right, we know something's not right. And it's just
Tone of the voice.
everything.
Right.
Everything. Yeah.
So how did you manage to pick up the pieces and get it together? Like, did you ever get it together while he was gone? Did you have to wait till he came back?
I started getting it together the day that he landed.
No shit.
Because I mean, I was already going through my own mental journey anyways, starting back in 2019. So prior to
With other life stuff.
with other life stuff prior to the pandemic, I had a lot of stuff going on. I had taken a picture with him when he was playing football, and that picture haunts me because of what I looked like in that picture with him. And I'm like, damn, I need to get my own mental crap together because that is not a good picture.
What were you seeing?
Somebody who was depressed, somebody who was full of anxiety, not confident, absolutely overweight. I mean, I'm still a little, thicky now, but
shit, you ain't the only one.
I was teetering almost 300 pounds in that picture. And it was an absolute, to this day, I look at it and I'm like, I never wanted to be that for my kids.
Gotcha.
And because I didn't understand how it all came together between the mental, the gut, the stuff that we eat, all of that, you don't know that because we're raised on certain types of foods,
Right.
Just had this discussion with my oldest son and his wife because she's like, oh my gosh, I have my first grandson, right? And she's trying to run around trying to figure it out. She's like, I don't have time to cook the way that I used to. And we get programmed to, let's just make it easy. It's killing us. It's literally killing us.
Well, it's been made easy for us with technology, deliveries. I mean, shit, I could sit here and order an ounce of weed. I can order Jack Daniels from Vaughn's.
Yep.
And I can get sushi roll, fresh sushi delivered immediately at the same time with all my groceries from Walmart. Like, you don't have to leave. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. And then the stuff that they put in the food for shelf life. Right. That adds
the
to
preservatives.
It. Yeah. And it's messing with us mentally.
You think so?
Yeah.
The guy I had previous to this podcast, he's an all natural. He switched over. He literally is like, he's like, I spend like $700 a week to eat healthy. And so we talk, I'm like, why is that? Why do you have to spend 3 times the amount to eat healthy versus just going to the store and eating what they're selling? Isn't that crazy how to eat actually it's so costly?
Right. It's very costly. And I'm a huge advocate about gut health. Part of my whole, part of my whole healing process, my journey has been with getting my gut health aligned.
Okay.
So just to kind of give you a background on that, my grandmother passed away from cirrhosis of the liver. And she didn't drink.
Wow.
So she got a headache one day. My uncle said, you know what, I'm going to take you in because you're laying down on the couch and I can't get you up. We're going to take you to the hospital. By the time I got to the emergency room, the doctor came in and said, well, going to let her go home with you guys on hospice. And I looked at him like, excuse me? Well, what is it that she has? 4-stage cirrhosis of the liver.
Wow.
How can that be? The first thing he asked me was, is she always constipated? And I said, as a matter of fact, she is. And he goes, well, anytime a person is constipated, then they scar the liver, just like an alcoholic does with scarring the liver.
Really?
I didn't know that. So because of that, they can call it whatever that they want. And they say, oh, your grandmother had a fatty liver. No, she died of cirrhosis of the liver because she was always constipated. She could never use the restroom. And that's something that we have on a regular basis in society. A lot of people have bowel movement problems, right? And not realizing that when we have all those toxins that cannot come out on a regular basis, they
Right.
sit in the gut,
Right.
it gets reabsorbed back into the body. So that plays a huge part on our mental health. We have 3 brains: our brain, our heart, and our gut. They're all intimately connected. That's our center chakras. And honestly, when I started taking care of my gut, when I started taking care of my mental health, man, did it make a huge difference. And that's something, that it really does. The food that we eat affects us.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's crazy. I was telling him how I'll go to McDonald's and I'll get like the 2 cheeseburgers and then a 10-piece nugget, large fry and large Coke, and I'll eat every bit of it. Or I'll go to Wiener Schnitzel and I'll get the chili cheeseburger, chili cheese dog, chili cheese fries, and it's gone. Like I'm doing it.
mm-hmm.
And I think the problem is you can't. There's no like really health places you can go to.
Right.
Fucking dude didn't have a muffler or something. Jesus Christ. I think the problem is there's no health places you can go to that are like readily available, or I don't think the information is out there. A lot of people just don't know how, because they've been raised off of oil bath foods, like
Mm-hmm.
putting in grease and frying it up.
Right. And on the Latino culture side, beans and rice, right? And all the meats and all the fats and all that kind of stuff. And we look at all of that and we're like, damn, no wonder we have generations of being messed up,
Right.
And I promised myself that I wasn't going to do that anymore. I can't remember the last time that I even drove through a McDonald's or a Wiener Schnitzel or any of those places.
I wish I could say that.
I don't drink soda. I don't chew gum. There's a lot of things that I cut out. And this was not overnight. This is something that, just
Right.
over time. Okay, I can cut one more thing out, or I can change this, or I can change that. And when you start doing the research and looking at the different things that we don't talk about, I was like, damn, I didn't know that.
Right.
I didn't know that, the reason why menudo makes you feel good after freaking drinking all night long wasn't because of the menudo. It was because of the oregano in it, right? Oregano has some amazing properties that will help make your body feel rejuvenated and makes you feel good. Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I looked it up. And people just don't do that. We listen to our doctors and we're like, whatever he says,
Take
whatever
this
she
pill.
says, yep, take the pill, right?
Right.
I don't want to take the pill. My doctor gave me pills and said, you need to take this. Oh, by the way, it's not going to really start working well for you until about 3 months in. And if you start having issues, I got another pill for that.
Oh, fuck. Counteract it,
right? Don't worry. 3 months isn't really a long time if you've been dealing with mental issues. It is a long time.
Right.
Oh, and if you want to take yourself off of it, you're going to have suicidal thoughts.
Right. Now you're like, oh, shit, I have to take it. I don't want to kill myself. But wait, I'm having suicidal thoughts right now while I'm taking it.
Or, I already have suicidal thoughts,
Oh,
because
shit.
I've been down some dark places
Right.
and I've already gone through those things and I don't want to add to it.
Right.
So I'm like, nope.
It's added pressure now.
No, I'm not doing this. And
Right.
I had to find another way.
So he gets back, your mental health improves. What did you do?
Immediately.
What did you do though?
So I was already having anxiety because I was late trying to get down to the airport because there was extra traffic, right? He's coming into San Diego. And I'm like, they can't fly you into freaking Ontario? Nope. They're only flying us into San Diego. Okay. Go down to San Diego, right? Because he's going to be with me for a week or whatever the timeline was. I get down there, and all I needed to do was put my arms around my kid. And immediately, I could feel a different kind of vibration
Gotcha.
immediately. And it was kind of like, okay, a piece of me is back. Because every time he left for another training, you know, he would come and he'd say, okay, I got to go to South Carolina. I got to go spend some time in Missouri. Oh, I'm going back to Missouri, whatever it was. Every time I seen him go up the stairs to get on the plane was harder and harder. But as soon as I put my arms around my kid and I was feeding him, because I'm like, I got on Yelp and I'm like, okay, what's the best Mexican food place around here? Because this kid, he needs real food. He's been eating shit food in Iraq for months, you know? And I needed to make sure he had a real, you know, home meal, a real Mexican food meal that he wanted, that I know that he wanted. And that's what we did.
Should have took him to TJ.
Well, we thought about it, but, you know, we just trying to get him fed as soon as possible. Once we did that, we were sitting there and he actually got a text message from a group of the guys. It's like they did a switch, right? So one portion of the unit comes back and another portion goes out.
Right.
And that's when they had attacked the embassy and in Iraq in the green zone. So he was like, you're not going to believe this. You know, we landed here and this is what's going down over there.
Right.
And I was like, thank you, Jesus. You got on that plane when you did and you're home and you're mine. Now we just got to pray for everybody else that's in the unit.
And then how long ago did he get out? When did he?
So he got out in July of 2020.
Okay.
So he's been home a couple years.
And then he lives with you now, right?
Yes.
How has it been, you know, watching him transitioning out of military life to civilian life? Has he struggled at all?
He struggles every day. And it's not so much the transition. You know, I'm lucky. I feel really lucky that I was able to bring him home to my house, that I have experience with my own journey, that I could help him with his.
Right.
And then I take an adaptogenic every day, right? Similar to microdosing, but this is a different mix of supplements.
The legal form.
Hey,
the less effective.
Well, mine isn't no longer as, you know, hard with the mental struggles as it used to be.
So you don't wake up inside your own head every morning?
No. And I was doing that for a long time. Been a couple times that I really tried to take myself out. A lot of people do not know that at all. And then I still woke up. And I'm like, why? Why did I wake up? This wasn't supposed to be like this.
You took pills?
I did not. My vice is alcohol.
Okay.
So I come from an alcoholic family. I have some family members that have struggled with pills on different side of the family, but they're all alcoholics. I can turn into an alcoholic in 0.60 seconds real quick.
Now, when you say alcoholic, there's everyone has a different definition of alcoholic. Are you talking about like when you woke up, I needed a drink? When you went somewhere, I needed a drink? Or,
always.
So you were drinking all day?
All the time. As soon as I walked in at home, as soon as I walked through the door, I can take 2 bottles of wine. I can drink tequila all night long. Tequila and I are best friends. Tequila's my thing. I can drink it all night long. And people are like, how the hell? I don't know why. I can do it. You know, it's just weird. I've watched my family struggle. I've lost family members because of alcoholism.
Okay.
It's been very bad on my dad's side of the family. And to see that growing up, it's just a regular thing. And it was really bad for me for quite a few years where I was struggling. And it was like, okay, something's got to give, right? Because I can't keep doing this.
Right.
And I changed jobs. Like I was still in the same company, but I just changed positions. And it gave me a little bit more of a mental break because when I first started, I was already having my own mental issues and then dealing with all of the stuff that I was dealing from families every day on an emotional level. I didn't know how to separate that. I didn't know how to do the work to say, okay, I've got to do something here to put a boundary.
Right. So let's talk about what you do for work so everyone can understand where you're talking about the emotional and mental strain that you would be put through.
So I work in the funeral industry. Um, I sell cemetery funerals and cremations. I have been doing that for over 13 years now, and I have done a few different roles for our company in our area. But my main position now, since April, I am working with all of the families that have had a loss and also prearrangement families, so a lot of families on hospice.
Gotcha.
I did that when I first started with my company, and then back in 2014, then I did all the marketing for our company for the different areas that we have. And then also in 2017 until April, I was working in only the prearrangement department. So I was not working with the at-need families, families that have had a loss. And now I'm back in that field. I'm back in that role as being a manager that has a team that takes care of those families. And it's tough. It's really tough. You're in the room with a family that has had a loss, and you're trying really hard not to pull those emotions home with you. Right?
Well, you're human. It's really, you got to be just a cold asshole. I mean,
Yeah, but it's every day,
right.
all day, several families a day.
So is that what was leading you or adding to the fire that wanted that was causing you to want to end your life?
That personal issues was my biggest thing. I was having a lot of problems at the time with the kid's dad, and it was ugly. It was ugly because I was struggling as a woman already. I grew up very tomboy, and even in high school, was very tomboy. Grew up around a lot of guys all the time, but I was never like out there romantically involved because I didn't understand that part. My mom was never, she was an absentee parent all the time.
Okay.
So that feminine part was never in the picture. And it made it really tough. Then you start learning about things in different ways that you didn't want to learn. And it starts messing with you. Am I a good parent? Right? Am I doing the right thing? Should I even be doing this? What's my purpose? And I was going through all of that, and I was done. I said, you know what? It's just better if I just go, right? Because then nobody has to worry about me because nobody cares. And my kids will be fine. They'll be well taken care of. I'm done. And I would go on several company trips. And for our company, you're in a room by yourself. And never, and I know that some of my coworkers are going to see this, but I've never been drunk in front of any of my coworkers, right? I've never, when it's professional time, it's professional time. But behind closed doors, I would sit in my room and I would drink a whole bottle of vodka,
Ooh.
a whole bottle of tequila. And I would just be sitting there in my own mess of thoughts. And I'm like, hey, I'm by myself. Nobody cares. Everybody's off doing their own thing. Everybody's out partying. I don't have that luxury. I can't afford it. Right? The affordability part messes with you.
Right.
And I was to the point a couple of times where one night, I mean, I can talk about it now because that portion of me, that memory of what has happened has already healed. But the whole bathroom floor was full of throw up. And I went face down first and in it. And I'm like, I'm just going to drown myself and just, I know it sounds gross, but you're in that moment where you just want to be done. And, in a bathtub, hey, Whitney died this way.
Right.
Let's see if I can drown myself. And it just never happened. I always ended up waking up. Was my face full of dried throw up when I woke up? Hell yeah, it was. It was friggin' disgusting. But I was like, damn, okay, maybe there's some work I need to put in. Maybe that's the reason why I'm still here.
Your intentions that night was to go out.
I was ready. I had letters right there in the room. I was ready. I got my own life insurance taken care of. I have a lot of things already set in place. I have, mom's playbook for when she's out, when she's gone. I was ready.
Does your son know this?
My kids know a little bit about this, but they don't know all of it.
Okay.
So,
do you think that your son struggles and him knowing that you went through this might help him not get to that point?
1,000%. There's some things that we've talked about that have been pretty deep. Some other things that I've gone through that he knows about. And he's just like, whoa, okay.
Like, don't be afraid to come talk to me.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And because he has seen me, I'm like, hey, I have this bottle here. Nobody in this house needs permission to take it. It's called Adrenal Pro. And it has ashwagandha in it, all those adaptogenics that come together and make really an awesome blend for us that works for me. Have I talked to him about, microdosing in the future? I told him, I sent him the show with Jay, and I said, look,
right,
you need to watch this. You need to watch this because there's other alternatives out there. Because I know that our medical community is doing what they've been taught, right?
Well, it's shit. Let's just be honest.
It's shit.
Yeah, American medical
it's shit.
Coverage is just
it's
horrible.
Shit. So my thing is not one treatment, not one modality, not one is for everybody.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, you got to find what works for you, and you can't. That's what we talked about, going to the doctor, and they're just like, hey, this is going to make you feel better. Already in your mind, you're programming, as soon as I put that pill on my mouth, ooh, I do feel better.
Right.
Wow, that works.
Right.
And then like an hour later, you're like, and you're like, hey, doc, I take this pill, and every hour I start, oh, okay, well, now you got to take this pill.
Yep.
It's going to counteract that, then all of a sudden, it just leads one thing into another. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you got to that point where you said, fuck it. And it's what's weird is I talked about this before where imagine if like people who wanted to commit suicide or unalive themselves. I don't know what the correct term is. But what if they had the gun and there was a 5-second delay?
Mm-hmm.
You pull that trigger and you're like, no, that's not what I want. Like, oh shit, what the fuck? What the fuck did I just do? Because there's a dude that survived jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Right.
Holy shit. If you haven't watched that damn story, you got to watch it.
That's an amazing story.
Ridiculous. The kid says as soon as he let go of the railing, instant regret. The fuck did I just... Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. That was a wrap. Oh, my God. And so how many people, if they could still be here, would say... Yeah, I wouldn't have done it. I wish there was a delay, or I wish I could have said, no, this ain't it. Or, if someone hung themselves like before jumping off the ladder, like right. You saw this you saw the vision, or something first, and like, oh shit, that's no. You see your kids mourning, you get to see the after, like the effects, because what would have happened if you weren't here today? How would your kids look at life? Well, Mom took the easy way out. Why can't I?
Right. And we see that in my industry, especially because we see it all the time, right? We see death every day. there are a lot of patterns I recognize, and I see what happens to these kids after. I see what happens to other family members after. When I was 9 months pregnant with my daughter, I don't know why I decided I was going to go through EMT school, right? And part of my clinicals was working right here at Riverside Community Hospital. And here I am, pregnant with my daughter in my clinicals, and I am in the emergency room, and I'm watching all of these emergencies come in. Well, we had a guy who had a shotgun between his feet, and when he pulled the trigger, the shotgun slipped.
Oh.
It took out half of his face. When he came in, the mom and the daughter, or the mom and the girlfriend, were like, we just don't understand why. His vitals were perfect. And he goes, well, I don't either. He goes, but I just had a lot on my mind. And he was talking regular.
I so wanted to make a joke right there, but
I know you did.
God,
I saw your eyes.
Oh, I wanted to jump on that so bad. I'm sorry,
like,
guys.
Oh my God.
Oh, God, that was a good one. Okay.
Yeah, let it go. Let it go, bro. No, it was something that I'll never forget, to go through that experience.
Well, just to see that.
Just to see it,
right.
You know. And what really started changing for me is that when I was at my location, when I was a counselor and I was meeting with all these families on an at-need basis, I had a lady who came in, and we were serving her and her family. And the reason why is because her son came back from Iraq, and her son went on a killing spree.
Oh.
His ex-wife had gotten together with somebody else while he was deployed.
Mm.
And he went to their house and kidnapped his daughter and killed everybody that was in the house. Went on another, he had other people in the community that he killed. And this was all during a hurricane. Mom had been telling the military for months, something's wrong with my son.
He was still active duty.
He was still active duty. He was out in Iraq. Something's wrong with my son. Nobody's listening to him. He keeps telling me that, everybody's pushing him to the side. He needs help. He's having mental issues. Constantly, they shut her down, right? So when he gets back and all this stuff starts going on, then they're like, well, nobody told us that he needed help. And she had been telling them while he was deployed, he needs help. He needs help, right? So they're chasing him. The cops are chasing him through this hurricane, looking for him. All these places he's leaving bodies. They find him in a parking lot, and he takes himself out. He had dropped his daughter off at the hospital and kept telling her that he was sorry, right? So mom is left to try and figure all this out. Military doesn't want to talk to her because now her son is a mass murderer. Okay, I get it. But he had been asking for help.
Right.
And nobody wanted to help him.
Wow.
Nobody was listening to mom. And to watch this woman just literally shrivel up in front of me, holding on to my hands and telling me, he's my son. He's my son. Somebody could have helped him, but nobody was listening.
Right.
That started changing how I thought about mental health and how I really started thinking about, you know what? Nobody does listen to men. Nobody does listen to when we start talking about that, right? Because talking about mental health for anybody was taboo.
Right.
Right? Nobody wanted to talk about it. And now it's a big deal. A lot of companies are putting in different programs for mental health. There are a lot of different groups out there now for mental health, but we still haven't gotten where we needed to be.
I don't think we've scratched the surface on it, to be honest with you.
No, not at all. So I always say that if you wake up in the morning, then that's a damn good day because you were given another day.
Well, yeah, you're going from basically being unconscious because you're asleep. I don't think people really understand going to sleep, like literally shutting it off and close. You know, do you not understand for like however many hours you sleep, you're gone.
Yeah.
Do you remember you sleeping? Can you see yourself looking down? No, you can't. You're out. You're gone. You don't know what happens. You don't know what's going on.
Right.
You wake up and hell, you could have had people that burglarized your house and you didn't hear them, and now you have no idea.
And that happens all the time, right? I'm a deep sleeper. My kids like, oh, when my mom finally goes to sleep, all right, because she's not going to hear shit.
Right.
Which is true because I have exhausted myself throughout the day. I've given myself all the energy out that I want to be able to sleep. And when I sleep hard. So
plus you got your little teas that you whip up, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, I'm sure you. Yeah. See, I have dog. We have the dogs. They sleep on the bed. So if anything happens in the house, it's instant bark. I'm gun in hand and I'm clearing.
Right. I mean, I have guns. I have stuff under my bed. I have a bat that stays at my side. I'm kind of famous in the neighborhood for my machete, but that's
a machete.
My grandfather gave me a machete a long time ago, and I've walked around the neighborhood. And back in the day, we had some little gangsters who thought they were the run of the mill until they met the crazy Mexican lady with the machete.
And you came out and was ready to chop some shit up.
Yeah, I was ready. They don't live in that neighborhood anymore, but I still do, so it's all good.
So I want to get back to like what you do, and how you get to see the after effects of death. You get to, I guess, build a relationship with those people who have lost someone, and you basically, because these people that come, you call them residents, right? Your long-term residents.
Mm-hmm.
They're there. They're not going anywhere.
Right.
And so now the families come and visit them, and now you're watching kids grow. You're watching families grow. You're watching families shrink.
Right.
Other loved ones that you might have known, probably they might be a long-term resident now too,
Mm-hmm.
that you had a relationship with.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. I always tell people, oh my God, what happens in the movies, that shit really happens. You guys just don't see it on a daily basis, right? I mean, I've had so many interesting types of situations with families. But one thing always remains the same. You will never forget the cry of a mom. Ever. Ever. And it doesn't matter the age.
Right.
The cry is always the same. And we know when it's mom at the casket or when it's mom, at the urn. We already know.
Because you guys are overseeing this too as it happens. I mean, you're there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you just are in an office. People come see you and you just sign some paperwork. You're like, okay, take care. Have a night. You're involved in a process, right?
Yep.
Where start to finish.
And a lot of people don't realize because, they don't deal with death on a daily basis. And people like myself do. We do take a lot of stuff home, even if we're trying really hard not to. There's been a lot of times where I've had to take a walk. There's just too much. It could be somebody on the phone with me. It could be somebody out in the lobby. It could be somebody that I talked to in the cemetery. It could be somebody that's having a service. I get triggered. A lot of people get triggered. They just don't always know how to unpack what they're being triggered with. I do. I've put a lot of work into learning about myself. But it's those families that continue to come back. And it is true. I mean, the youngest person that I've buried was before they were born, and the oldest has been 106, and everything in between.
Right.
Tragic, suicide. Suicide is probably some of the hardest. And people that have been in accidents. I mean, you name it, we've seen it. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. And I still have families to this day that have relationships with me because they do come back all the time. And a lot of times after a suicide, I already know if I see somebody's post right, on social media, and they're not saying this person was sick, this person, died in a car accident. I already know how they passed away based on how they deliver the message on their social media.
Gotcha.
I already know when somebody walks into my office and they're starting to ask for pricing and they have specific questions, right? And they start giving me timelines. So if I pass away within 6 months, is this going to be, paid in full for my family so I don't have to worry about it? There's specific questions that people ask me, or certain ways that they tell a story after somebody's passed away where they're embarrassed to say it, that my brother died of suicide. My husband died of suicide. My sister, died of suicide. Nobody wants to say that.
Right.
Because it's the whole stigma about being embarrassed. I get it.
I hate God, I wish I would have known.
Right.
Like, the signs were there.
The signs were there.
Yeah.
But we don't want to talk about that mental health part.
Right.
Because then we start, just suck it up.
Well, it's like when someone says, hey, how you doing today? Well, fuck it. Since you asked, let me tell you. Started off with this morning. I woke up. I had a really bad cramp in my right leg, and I couldn't stumble to the bathroom, so I shit my pants on the way there. Like if I really told you, you'd be like, oh, fuck. So it's kind of just like a passive, like just I like saying hello.
Right.
Like, how you doing today? I'm good. Okay. Yeah, me too.
Right.
And that's that. When reality is like, hey, how you doing? Man, I'm fucked up.
I'm struggling.
Imagine if someone said that,
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, fuck. What? Most people would be like, fuck, why did I ask that?
Exactly.
Shit.
Exactly.
Why did I? Here I go again, fucking asking people, because people don't care.
Right.
They just want to feel like they participated with I asked. God, I always asked him how he was doing. He always told me he was doing fine.
Right. But did you really ask?
Yes.
But did you really ask? We talk about, we don't want to get into the weeds of somebody's life.
Right.
Right. It's easier if we just stay surface level.
Right.
There are a lot of times that people are dying at the surface level and it's obvious. And then there are a lot of times that the surface level looks amazing because the only pictures that, they're posting on social media is their amazing life.
Right.
Right. Because we don't post that we're having mental issues.
The losses.
We don't post that, what? I totally could have taken myself out today, but I didn't. I decided to be here with you guys.
Right.
Right? We don't post that
God,
stuff.
could you imagine if that was acceptable to have just a post like, if you tried today, just let us know.
Let us know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey guys, want to let you know that I did try to kill myself today, but I'm still here, and I'm gonna be back tomorrow. So, like, hello, hey, let's talk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but how many people don't do that, and then nobody knows? Just like with you, nobody knows. Nobody knows that you tried. Nobody knows that you attempted. Nobody knows that you thought about it. Since then, has that thought crossed your mind ever?
No. After I dealt with that woman losing her son and everything that she told me about all the struggles, about everything, no. And that was hard. Do I get into some dark places sometimes? Absolutely. But it's usually because for some reason I'm triggered. I had a very traumatic childhood. Why am I triggered? Right? That's usually part of the story growing up. I've learned how to, okay, if I don't have the patience with myself to try and unpack it right now, why did I get triggered? I'm going to try again in a couple hours. And I play that exercise with myself. Okay, shut it off. Shut it off. I don't want to talk about it right now. Shut it off. And then I come back and revisit it. Okay, now that I've had time to analyze why that's triggering me, I have a couple exercises. I'll write it down.
I'm huge on writing stuff down.
I'm
It takes thought.
huge.
Because you have to put thought to your fingertips, and that creates a memory, and that creates storage, and it's bigger than just thinking about it, because then the thought's gone.
Right. And it's part of a file for me.
Right.
Quite a while back, I was watching another podcast, and the doctor that was on there was talking about, triggers. And one of the things that she said that I'll never forget is, can your past touch you physically? Is it touching you? Is it touching you? Is it touching you? And you're like, well, no, it's a memory. So it physically cannot hurt you.
Right.
Well, it's a memory. Then why are you letting it destroy you?
It's the story that you're telling yourself.
Right. Right? Because it
gets worse every time.
It gets worse because then now we're going to add the what if to that story, right?
Yeah. Could you imagine what happened if?
Shit. So for me, if I write it down, and I've got pads of paper everywhere, if I write that shit down and physically write it, and I'm mentally watching myself write it, then I've just taken that file out of my mind and I've written it down. Confirmation that I'm dealing with it, but also confirmation that it was my thought process and not a physical in the present moment that's hurting me. It was a thought.
Okay. So you write down your thought on paper.
Why is it triggering me? Sometimes I'll take 5 full pages, right?
Okay.
I'll write the whole damn scenario out. I'll write it all down. Sometimes it is only a thought, and I'm writing it down. Well, I've gotten very good at, okay, when I'm done processing it, I'm going to crumple that shit up.
I was going to ask you, do you crumble it up and throw it out and now it's gone?
I would rather put it in a fire. And I do a lot of that, especially at the beginning of a new year.
Okay. Because
I don't want to take whatever triggers that I had and files that I had mentally with me into the next new year. And the reason why is because now that I'm older, now that I know these different exercises, now that I put in the work, right? And that's something that I tell people all the time. I talk to my son about, I talk to his wife about, we talk about the work, right? Because you got to be willing to put in the work.
Right.
And it could be one thing at a time. It doesn't have to be overnight. You know, like some people do crash diets. Some people want to do crash mental health. Doesn't work. Because if you try and do that, then now you're beating yourself up for the shit not working.
Right.
That's not how this works.
Now you feel like a failure.
So that adds to your anxiety, adds to your stress, adds to that. Well, nobody's going to miss me anyways. So, I thought about this before. I might as well just get on with it.
Right. Now it's worse.
It's worse.
Yeah.
There is somebody who will always miss you.
Right.
We see it on the aftermath. The conversations are incredible.
Well, that's why I said I wish that you could like the Ghost of Christmas Future or whatever, like you could see just a millisecond glimpse of, if you do this, look at this face. Mm-hmm. Look at them grieving. Look at this. Look at them in 10 years taking their life because of you.
Right.
Can you live with that? Like, damn. Like, just get to I wish there was a way. I know there's not, but I wish there was a way to where there was that just hesitation of, fuck, damn, like where someone can come in and help.
Yeah. And there's been times that I've, we're getting ready to take this person out into the cemetery, right? And we're making sure before the family comes in the one last time that we're in there cleaning the chapel or whatever it is that we're doing. And my thought process when I know it's been a suicide is, if you could have only been here to physically hear the conversations I heard last night before I left. Because your family really does love you.
Right.
And when we're in the middle of it, and whatever mental health issue, illness, whatever that is, I mean, it's just pulling it all apart, because it's so much all together and people snap all the time. And,
right.
We don't think that way. But on my side, I see it. On my side, I hear it. On my side, I feel the emotion from the families and the friends.
The loss.
And I have really buried some very significant people from society, but it's the suicides, the stories, And always, if I wish I would have known. If I only knew. Why didn't you reach out, man? Why didn't you just call me?
Because everybody's so busy with their life. Everyone, especially here.
I don't want to bother you.
Yeah. I don't want to get in your business. I thought, everything was cool. And if there was a problem, you'd reach out. Well, people don't reach out.
Mm-hmm.
People put those small little hints out there, or attempting suicide, right? I'm a firm believer of, if you truly wanted to end your life, you can end it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's that attempted is fucking, hey, I need help.
Right.
I just don't know how to ask for it. Or I've been talking for so long. I've been posting shit on social media. You can see some post like the quotes or some like, damn, you all right? Like, I'll send a DM, even if it's somebody I don't know. Like, hey man, you doing all right? Oh yeah, I just I was feeling that today, and all right, well just I don't know you, but I'm just letting you know, like, don't hesitate.
I'm looking out.
Yeah, just throwing it out there, and then it ends. Okay, cool.
Right.
Well, what else can you do? You know what I mean? I don't know them personally, but like if your son, he lives with you, has there been times where you've seen a change in him, mentally, like through, like, was he depressed and stuff, where you could be like, hey, I've noticed something.
Yeah. I can ask him a question and I could watch him snap, and you look at him and you're like, what happened?
You could say fuck.
I know, but I'm just like, I stop myself because it's part of frustration, and I'm like, literally, you were just skipping through here, so happy I fed you, or, I had you try this ice cream, or whatever it is, right? And then you turn around, I ask you a question, and it's like, yeah, I fucking hate the world. Don't ask me no questions, I already told you that. And it's like, damn.
You know what's weird is I don't know if women go through this. I don't think they do. But I can't. I probably couldn't even come up with a number, but I would have to say like 95 to 98% of men have at one point in their life thought of just grabbing all their shit and just fucking leaving to like the middle of nowhere. Packing up their shit and just literally put me out in Montana in a fucking cabin somewhere.
I'm a little different because I have thought about that. There's a little meme with a cat with the hands on the steering wheel. It says, thinking about driving across country and starting a new life, type of thing.
Right.
But no, I would have to say that most men probably do think that way, because they can't physically bring themselves to talk about their mental health.
Right. The only way is to escape and go chop some fucking wood, shoot a deer, skin it, and, like...
The communication skills are not there.
Go back primal.
For most people, right? Men and women don't know how to talk to each other the way that they should be talking to each other.
It's hard.
It's really hard. Women...
Like, I'm surprised we've had this going for an hour and 15 minutes now, and we haven't had an argument.
Exactly. I mean, besides me, you could say fuck. Yes.
Right.
Thanks. Okay. Thanks for, no, I'm just kidding. But honestly, they don't know how to talk to each other. And it takes a lot of effort to even have conversations besides, how was your day? Great. Okay. I'm going to go watch TV, or I'm going to go play video games, or, well, I'm going to go drink some wine and get on TikTok or whatever.
Right.
We spend more time in our social media as a escape.
We look at other people's lives more than you look at your own.
Exactly.
And then if you get on TikTok nowadays, every other post is a dude on there crying or reaching out about his feelings.
And if you look at the comments, what are the comments? Oh, suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry you had such a hard life.
Like, you have it so rough with your brand new truck.
God. Yeah.
Like, people think because you got a new truck, or you got a nice Razor, you got a trailer, and God, you're fucking great, bro.
Your life is cherry.
Yeah, what are you talking about, bro? Like, come on. You had fucking Chick-fil-A yesterday. You're good.
You're good.
I seen you having mimosas at Marie Callender's last Sunday. Like, get over it.
Yeah.
Not understanding, like, that has nothing to do with the mental health aspect of anything.
And it could have taken a lot of effort for you to just even get out of bed.
Right. And then I just look at, how about you fuck off? That's just, honestly, that is my response now to everything is, how about you fuck off, or how about you go choke on a big sack of dicks?
Right. And mine is
Like,
and
oh, come on. You're not. I'm up here. My vibe is up here. I stay up here. You can't fuck with it. Why would I come down here to answer your question or try to fight you in this level?
right.
It's not happening. Fuck off.
And I'm at the point in my life where I just don't get around a whole group of low vibrational people because everything is always wrong for them.
You
They
can feel it immediately
they
too.
find the negative in
Right.
everything. And I'm
Right.
like, I just can't do this. You're like an energy sucker.
Right.
I cannot.
You can literally feel it being sucked out of you. Like, okay, I can't take this anymore, bro. You're killing me. You're gonna drain the energy all out of me, and I'm gonna have to go sit on the couch, take a nap, and recharge.
Yep. Like I'm done. I'm spent. I can't be around people like that.
Now, you just had an announcement you made at your cemetery,
Right.
right? And it's the Vietnam replica wall, right? That travels, or what? What's let's talk about that.
So it's called the Wall That Heals. When I got to my cemetery, one of the things that they had said, we had purchased another company. And so they said, look, they have one cemetery. It also has a mortuary there. And we want you to go down there because you have cemetery experience, but you also have the marketing experience. You know what we expect. You're also a policy procedure person. We need you down there. Okay, great. I'm going, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do some extraordinary things. I didn't say anything else. As soon as I got down there, I had gotten wind that it was time for them to start accepting the 2023 tour applications. And many, many years ago, when I started with my company, we had our own replica wall that used to travel the United States. And it went into retirement, and they said we'd never bring it out again, which I was disappointed because I'm like, man, that is so important to the community. And my grandfather's a veteran, right? So I said, okay. So when that opportunity came up, I went for it. And I didn't ask for permission because I was like, if I ask for permission, I'm going to get shot down, right? Because it's a huge undertaking. And they don't really say yes to people like me who work for companies that I work for because we're a large corporation. So they're mostly saying yes to organizations, cities, community areas. And I didn't really think I'd have a shot, but I got the call. I went through their interview process and all of that stuff, and I got the call and I got accepted. So it's called the Wall That Heals. It is the official Vietnam Veterans replica wall that does travel the United States. 2023, they only have 4 stops in California. So we will be their last stop, which is actually the beginning of April.
Okay.
So I'm super excited.
And anybody can come see this?
Anybody can come see this. I got together with the city of Menifee and I said, hey, this is what I did. And I don't know if you'd like to be on board, but we've got 18,000 registered veterans within my service area. And I'm pretty positive this would be a good thing for our community out here. And we want to be a great, community partner. What do you think? So the mayor said, we're all in. We're all in. We'll do whatever it needs to happen. Whatever help you need, we've got you. We've got lots of organizations out here. We're a huge, veteran support group,
right?
Community. And that really made me excited. So I had to keep it quiet for quite a few months until they made a national announcement once they released the tour dates and who was going to be getting those stops. Then I was able to make the announcement as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So is it a something free, or do you have to pay to go?
It's 100% free. What's going to happen is we are going to bring it in. So set your calendars, everybody. We are going to be bringing it in by escort on the truck that it comes to us throughout the United States. It has it's an amazing truck. So that's going to come into us by escort on April 4th. April 5th, we're going to be assembling and doing volunteer training. and we are going to have our grand opening on April 6th.
Oh, cool.
So it'll run 24 hours a day from April 6th until 2 o'clock in the afternoon on April 9th. And then they'll pack up and they'll go to the next state.
Oh, cool.
So
Do they have some type of security there? Like, do you guys have like?
So, because of the relationships that I have out in the community, which, I mean, you kind of see the gist of some of it that I share, we will have the police department and some of their affiliate agencies that will do our security for us
right on.
24 hours.
Because I know some people, obviously don't have the same
Type of respect
and share the same thoughts and stuff on that. And, people just like to ruin the party. So.
Well, the guy that is the founder of the Patriot Guard is out of the Lake Elsinore Legion.
Okay.
And he's already told me that whatever you guys need, let me know. So we'll have all of that. I mean, it's going to be incredible. I've already got a slew of volunteers that have committed. I have people that have committed to feed the volunteers. I have the city's going to take care of lighting, logistics.
Oh, that's cool.
Everything, which is amazing. So I'll be getting together a lot of our veteran organizations. We have so many out in the Inland Empire, and a lot of them don't know each other. So my goal is to also have kind of like a group come together at one of the probably one of the buildings over at March or in Menifee, so we can all get to know each other and then go ahead and say, hey, this guy might not be able to go fishing, right? But this organization can help him with this, or this organization can help him or her with this. So there's a lot of different things that I have in mind for the future.
Well, I'm excited to see. I love following along and watching everything that unfolds. You were just on like some yacht not too long ago with somebody.
Well, it was a boat.
Or a boat, yacht, whatever.
I mean, I have specific things for yachts, but yeah, I was out there.
It was bigger.
It was I've had some incredible opportunities this year. Every year I choose a word for the year, right? And this year my word was pivot. And when I chose the word, I said, okay, I'm going to take opportunities this year that I've never taken before because I've always been too busy in my life, and I always say no or, oh, sorry, bro, moving on or whatever. And that included with work. So this year I've had some incredible opportunities to meet some incredible people and to go do some incredible things that are once in a lifetime opportunities for a lot of people. And I got to spend the whole day out there with the artist Waylon, and we were.
That's what I just saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were out there with the dolphins and out on the ocean doing stuff.
Who is he?
So he's the one who does all of the drawings and the sculptures of, like, the famous is the whale tail, right? And the dolphins, and he does some incredible ocean artwork.
Is that his boat?
That's one of his foundation's boats. I think they have a couple different ones that
he takes out and paints on.
Yeah, it was incredible. I have some incredible friends.
No, I was jelly. I was sitting there looking like, damn, that's some like rich white people shit right there. Like,
yeah, and then I got to meet the owners of
the tequila or something,
White
right?
Shark vodka
or
Blue Shark vodka. Sorry.
Yeah,
and every single vodka bottle has a different glass blue shark inside of it.
Oh, really?
And it's incredible. And I'm like,
how much does a bottle cost?
It's like $38.99.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So they don't sell anywhere in California. They do have at, I think it's Lee's Liquor in Vegas.
Okay.
They do have that's one of their distributing partners, and then there's South Carolina and some of the other.
Because they're East Coast, aren't they? Or
East Coast.
They just don't have distribution out here, or
probably not. I did tell them that, hey, I've got some contacts, of course, right? So if you ever think about opening up in California, let me know. I can get you into some pretty cool places. So only because I have those kind of resources.
Now, do you do you have a hard time working with alcohol companies or being around functions with alcohol? Like, are you okay to manage it now, or
I'm
do you
okay.
drink?
No, I drink because I don't have those urges all the time anymore.
It's a different. You're drinking for a different reason.
Drinking for a different reason.
Gotcha.
Like I said, I could polish it off, man. I could stop, which I did on a regular basis on my way home.
While you were driving.
Yeah, while I was driving. Back in the day, most people don't know that I used to stop at a dive bar, and I would pick a different dive bar a couple days a week.
Just because you didn't know anybody there?
I didn't know anybody there. I could go, even today, I could walk into a bar just because of my personality, and I could sit down and I could have a drink, watch a game, and
stories are flowing.
Stories are flowing.
Right.
You know, it doesn't mean the alcohol has to be flowing. It just means that I'm comfortable to do that. I wasn't comfortable to do that before because I wasn't comfortable with myself.
Gotcha.
Back in the day, I just wanted to disappear. I was looking at hiding, you know, and that's what I did. I stopped. I would have a couple shots. I would have a full glass of beer and then hit the road, come home and try and function, you know, making dinner for the family or whatever, and have some more drinks, drink through making dinner, drink until I fell asleep. And I was doing that all the time.
Repeat it the next day.
All the time.
Well, I'm glad you were able to control, write down your demon on paper, crumble it up, and burn it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a cool way to deal with things. Like whoever's listening, that you know, hey, write down what you're going through. Mm-hmm. Tear that piece of paper off when you're ready to throw it out or burn it. Get rid of it.
Get rid of it because it can't physically touch you.
Right.
And to be honest, everybody has a different way of dealing with things. And this is how I had to learn how to deal with things because I wasn't getting any healthier mentally, physically. I didn't want to be that way.
Right.
Once I started realizing, hey, I want to be a grandma one day.
Right.
Right. And lo and behold, I got my little booger and he's amazing. And, you know, spending time with him just takes me to a whole nother level of love that I didn't know that I had. And a lot of times we just don't know physically that we are, and mentally, we're worth so much.
Right.
Because we're caught up in the shit.
Right. I think that's cool that you, when you write it down, because like for me, a lot of times I have so much going on. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know where to start. I can't stop and say, okay, I'm going to attack this. And because I have so much, I just feel overwhelmed. But if you stop and you're able to write that down on paper, just that one thing, now you can focus on that. And now that's where your starting point is where now I can attack this and deal with it versus you don't deal with it and it just goes in a circle with everything else that's going on.
Mm-hmm. It's like walking around with a constant tornado that's full of debris. Right above your head. And sometimes every once in a while somebody will have a commercial and then they show that person walking and all that stuff is, and I'm like, that is like freaking me.
Right. And they're like, ask your doctor if this is right for you.
Exactly. Right. You're like, fuck.
Yeah. You're like,
it's not where this is going, you know? Yeah.
That was me. Damn it.
God damn it.
What, I have two things I wanted to ask you. Number one is for the mom out there listening whose child, man or woman, boy or girl, is in the military and they're having those thoughts and they're having that, you know, their life is changing because of the what if or them being gone. What would you say to someone right now struggling, going through that episode of life?
Wow.
What's your advice?
My advice, number one, is whatever fears that you're feeling, don't add that to their plate. Because they're already going through things they've never experienced before, and they are already mentally exhausted.
Because they don't know how to deal with what they're going through.
Right. And you need to be open and say, you know what, just tell me I can handle what you're going through. There is shit that my son will never, ever, ever speak of, especially to his parents, right? And even my oldest son. My oldest son went to school for a semester in Boston. To when I went to go drop him off, I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell?" There's black cars pulling up, and there's butlers and people taking the luggage out, and what the hell kind of school am I sending my kid to, right? Because I had no clue. And there are things that happened to him that he'll never speak about because that's what we do. There are things that have happened to me growing up that I'll never speak about, but I can write it down and I can throw it out. But when we're going through it as a parent, we're watching our children change, and every time they come home, they're a different person. We got to let them breathe. We can't be the micro parent, helicopter parent, whatever it is that we want to be, right? Because we're adding pressure. But we also need to let them know, I'm here. If you need to dump on me, it's okay. Because I need to make sure that if you need help, tell me what you need. Always tell them that there's open communication, right? Always tell them, because you'll find, you can have a partner, your husband, your wife, your brother, your sister. There's always somebody that you can sit with, that you can bounce different things off of. Okay. Sometimes you don't think there is, but there really is. It could be a stranger.
Right.
And that's happened to me. I sat at Starbucks for 3 hours with a chick I didn't even know. And we literally dumped on each other about life. Didn't even exchange phone numbers. I don't know how the hell I ended up at that Starbucks in a place I've never been before, but we sat there for 3 hours. But we need to let our kids know it's okay. What you're going through is not regular. If you need me, I'm here. But there are support groups for parents. It's marineparent.com. Marineparent.com has different small subsidiary support groups in there. And when you think you're the only one going through it, there's not. You're not. There's each unit as they go through it. Sometimes it's the same parents that your kids are with. They have them for every branch.
Right.
You have to be careful because every once in a while you get the Karen, or you get the person, the parent, because it's moms and dads, the parent that likes to stir up the shit, right? But the support is amazing. There's a lot of things in there, and most people don't know that.
Did you use that?
I did use it.
Do you still talk to people today?
I have a couple of the people that were in there that I still keep in touch with on social media because they're in different parts of the country. One lady, she really went through it. She's had several family members that have gone through the military, came back with PTSD, and ended up committing suicide. So to watch her journey also helps with solidifying how I feel about my journey, and there are times that her and I have gone back and forth on social media, but it's just, there's help out there. We just don't know where to look sometimes.
Right.
And moms, we put up with a lot of shit, but what you need to know is that these kids' dads also are putting up with a lot of mental stuff in their mind. I watched his dad go through it, and I watched his grandpa go through it, and I watched my dad, go through it, thinking about him being in Iraq. Every time we'd talk, he'd get all messed up. So, there's a lot of stuff they go through too, and we have to give each other grace. So,
what would you say to a mom or a woman out there that is contemplating taking their own life?
Reach out. I know that it's really difficult. For me, I had to start with reading, looking at YouTube and finding videos. Sometimes we don't want to reach out because we want to be stuck in our own mind. There's a lot of self-help stuff out there, but tackle one trigger at a time, because once you do that, then things get lighter, because we're constantly filling the plate, right? Constantly. And there's so many things that go on, and then we work and we come back and we're trying to take care of everything, and it just doesn't seem like the load is getting lighter.
Right.
The load is lighter if we take one thing off of it. So when I write shit down, when I'm going through it, even if it's one thought, that's one less thing on my plate. And it gives you, okay, why is my kid triggering me? Why is this chick at work triggering me? You know, why did the person that cut me off triggering me? Why is the person that hit my cart at the grocery store triggering me? How come I can't get my thoughts focused? You know what? Sometimes we set our expectations too fucking high because we're trying to keep up with all the social media shit that we know is not even right. We know that that's just, you know, everything's flawed behind that picture.
Right.
But we're trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? And I would say, take care of your house. That person's not paying your bills. That person's not dealing with your family. That person's not dealing with your physical, mental health. That person has no say in your life.
Right.
Take care of you first, because everything else will fall into place. And that goes for men too. You got to take care of you. If you don't, that's when all the fires start breaking out.
Right.
And write it down, you know, and then if you need to, keep that pile and take it. I need you to help me because I'm going through this and I don't know how to process it.
Right. But there's so many guys out there, even, you know, if they're listening to this right now, they're going, that's easier said than done.
Right.
You know, if I wrote my problems down, most of them would be my wife, you know, and I'm not saying you, babe. I'm just saying the dudes out there are probably saying that, right? If I wrote my problems down, a majority of it is at the home with their wife, the significant other. And it's like, I'd rather keep my shit to myself because it's not worth me saying, you know, bringing it up something, you know, to her, like, you're causing this. This is why I'm acting like this is because right then and there, it's a fight.
I will tell you the way that I communicated to my kids, the way that I communicated with Joe, the way that I communicate with my friends, my coworkers. My mental health is not anybody else's responsibility to deal with until I start dealing with it first.
Right.
Because I can say all day long, well, I'm looking for some help, right? That's just like somebody who has a drinking problem or somebody who's taking pills or somebody who's, you know, maybe having a problem with obesity, right? I'm looking for some help. Tell me how you did this. Tell me how you did that. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, but what are you going to do with the information?
Yeah, a lot of people love talking about it, and they get that like shot of like dopamine in there, like because I talked about it, feels good. Fuck, I got that goal out,
right?
And then all of a sudden, it's gone.
Right.
There's no action.
And we're in the end of the year, right? So people are like fired up about New Year goals.
I wish I owned a gym right now.
Jesus, right? Oh my God.
I want to open like a 3-month gym every year, January through March. That's that's it.
That's it.
And then cancellation
because everybody's gone at the end of March.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone, and that's the thing is like, okay, well, we can give you all the resources all day long,
right?
But until you're ready to pick up that resource and say, okay, I'm going to do this today
consistently,
then guess what? It's not going to work.
Right.
It's not going to work. And that's why for me, writing shit down is good for me. It may not be good for somebody else. But the problem is that we want to write stuff down and they're like, oh, okay, now I want to publish a book about it. Okay, that's a fine. But you want to keep repeating what's going on instead of saying, okay, I have an issue. I'm trying to fix it. This is where I'm at in my journey. Where do I go from here? Right? We're trying to keep up with I'm making a profit. but I'm still going to be depressed because I'm only putting it down and I'm not going
Right.
to actually take care of it. Man, shred that shit.
But it's so much bigger. Like, you could be depressed about your work, right? And unless you get a different job, your depression is still going to stay, right? You have to. Some people literally have to leave this physical place because it's causing your depression.
Right.
The environment.
Right.
But then it's like, well, I have this great job and I'm paying, for all these bills that I have. It's easier said than done. Same thing with a marriage. How many people are in a fucked up marriage that hate each other, but continue on because they have equity in the house, right? And it's just easy.
I'm doing this for my kids.
I'm doing it for the kids,
right?
And it's so easy to talk about it, or someone listening to this going, "Oh yeah, it's so easy for you guys to sit there and talk about it." But when you're living it, well, I was living through depression before. Don't think that I don't. But my thing is if you're having problems in your marriage like that, and your issues that you're having stem from your significant other, and if you are open about these issues, they're going to use it as ammo against you. Man, you're with the wrong person.
Right. And maybe, to be honest, maybe you are with the wrong person, because sometimes those people, and I'm going to say it because I don't have a problem saying it because I'm a dick sometimes. But, a lot of those women really want that trophy wife type of life.
Right.
Right? They don't give a shit about what you're going through. They don't.
Ricky Bobby wife.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to go to somebody else.
Fuck your best friend.
Right. Well, guess what, sister? You and I can't be friends.
Right.
Because that's not the way I operate. Because I have to be responsible for myself. And a lot of people, they don't see all the struggles and they don't see the whole journey about how long it took you to get there, right? We talk about all the time, especially for success, especially for, businesses. They only see the end result where you're at that day.
Right.
They didn't see all the shit that you went through. They didn't see all the mud, right? There's a picture that I have saved on my phone, and it's 2 different sized dogs, right? And then it says the level of mud is different for everybody. You say you're going through the mud. Well, if you've got a little dog, right, the mud's going to be all the way up to their belly. And if you've got a big dog, it might only be the small portion of their feet.
Right.
The level of mud is different for everybody. You just got to decide what kind of boots you want to put on to get through it.
Right.
And to be honest, it is very difficult. Again, we don't know how to communicate with each other as men and women, and we don't know how to set boundaries. And boundaries could be with our own family. It could be with your mom and dad.
Right.
Brothers and sisters.
You're afraid to steer the pot if you set a boundary, because then it's like, well, who are you to tell me that I can't do that? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's hard. Like how do you do that? Especially with today's society, where you can't tell anybody anything. You can't tell somebody this, you can't tell somebody that, because who are you?
Do you apologize for who you are?
Every day.
Why?
Because I just suck. And I piss a lot of people off.
I don't apologize. I don't give a fuck.
I don't apologize. I don't. I wake up and I fart, fucking fairy dust and
ride the unicorn, right? I ride the unicorn all the time. And I tell people all the time, look, I am who I am. I am freaking sarcastic like a mother chicken, right? Trust me, I will turn around and I will sass your ass.
Is there a sarcastic mother chicken?
Mother chicken. In my world, there is.
Okay.
And I'm not apologizing for it.
I'm going to have to look that up.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Mother chicken.
Mother chicken.
I have to do a hat.
That's the only way I can cuss at work. Like,
mother chicken. Sometimes
I have a trucker's mouth really bad, but if I'm really frustrated, it's a mother chicken instead of saying motherfucker, because I can get away with it. But I don't want people to think that I'm going to take the time to give them a pretty story of all the roses and the butterflies and all that shit. And we're going to walk around the bush a million times before I get to the point. It's fucking exhausting. Get to the point.
Right.
Let's just talk like the adults that we are. Let's get to the point so that way we can move on to the next level.
That's the problem, though. A lot of people aren't adults.
No.
They think they are just because of an age,
Right.
but you literally are not an adult. Some are not, and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's so many problems that we need to fix.
It's that social media life.
And then a lot of people are like, with like mental health, let's say physical health, right? You go to the gym. How long does it take before you see results?
Oh, it could take 6 months to a year.
So that's why in March, everyone cancels because they haven't seen shit. They've been going hard for 3 months thinking like, hey, where's this quick solution?
Mm-hmm.
It took me how many years to put this shit on my body? And now I think I'm gonna be GQ model in 3 months, right?
Right.
Same thing with mental health. It takes a while. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. You're not gonna do some yoga shit or some meditation, wake up the next morning and be like, fuck yeah. Like
I had an awakening. I'm done. I'm here.
Right.
That's not how it works. It takes time. You have to put in the effort. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I can't tell you how many times that I just don't want to get out of bed because I am mentally exhausted.
knowing what you're gonna have to get into.
Yeah. And it could be all the things from the day. It could be just day to day, right? And knowing that, you know what, if I'm going to a certain type of meeting, or if I'm going to go meet certain people, or I know I'm going to be triggered because this person's going to say this. Or look, we're in holiday season, right? You're going to go spend time with the family. Fuck.
Right.
I don't want to spend time with the family because they're going to piss me off. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that. It's going to take me to a whole nother level.
Right.
And we got to ask ourselves why, because we don't want to deal with those kind of people. A lot of times because we haven't set our boundaries. My family knows I've cut my mom off, my own mom, because she keeps stepping over the boundary. We'll talk every once in a while.
Limited.
She lives 2 minutes away from me, and I have not seen her physically in 2 years.
Wow.
Because she keeps stepping over that boundary. I'm not going to allow somebody to treat me a certain type of way anymore, because it's not about quantity of life for me anymore. 48 years old, man. I'm grandma. It's about quality. It's about quality of whatever time that I have left.
Right.
You know?
Which you don't know how
we
much
don't know.
time.
It's not guaranteed, right?
Yep.
So we're already at the point we're almost halfway through our life on 100-year lifespan.
Oh, I know I'm halfway through.
Yeah.
I know for a fact I'm halfway. 43? 86? No. Ain't happening.
Crack.
Ain't happening. 86 ain't happening. I know for a fact. I'm cool with like late 70s, 80, early 80s. I think that's a perfect, because at that point my knees are gone, my back's out. I got a bag that I shit in or something, and I don't want to live that life.
Right.
I really don't. Some people are like, oh, I want to live as long as I can. Nah, for me, as soon as I need any type of medical type of aid to, function, I'm cool. Just had a great life. I don't want you guys to remember me like this. Like, fuck, we got to change dad's, what's it called? Colostomy bag?
Uh-huh.
Fuck that. No. Then it busts and there's shit and piss all over the,
And guess what? Most kids don't want to deal with that anyways.
Right.
And people end up in homes.
So So I think I'm halfway. I like to say that. I think the best years of my life are yet to happen, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I love how I continuously feel younger in my mind as I go on this journey. The microdosing has helped. As
absolutely,
I
I'm
talked
sure.
before. Yeah, I feel like it opened up another part of my brain that I use now, and it only grows. So I'm looking to see what's in the store in the future with that. But I'm really glad that you're here today to be able to talk about this. Thank you for stopping by. I thank you for talking about your son, and the struggles that not, because I always talk to veterans. We always hear a veteran's point of view, but we never hear the mom's point of view. Like, what was it like to watch your son, leave off to war, and I appreciate you opening up and sharing that point of view, and as well as, the personal stuff that you've dealt with and gone through, which I'm sure we could probably have another 2-hour session of
absolutely,
everything else that has gone on. But I think the key points that we talked about will benefit somebody who's listening right now going through the same thing.
And I absolutely hope that it does, even if it's only one person, because there's so many avenues now, resources, and we need to talk about it more.
Right.
We need to talk about it more because it's part of life, but we need to know that we can do something about it.
Right. And that you're not alone.
Right.
And we always say that, oh, you're not alone, but you have to understand that you're truly not alone. Right. And it's not that you're not alone. Like, yeah, I am. I'm sitting here by myself in my house. Well, no shit. You're alone in your house, but you're not alone in the situation that the things that are going on inside your head or the situation that you're in. You're not alone because you're not the first person to go through this.
Right.
And there's been plenty of people that have gone through this, that have conquered it, that will tell you, this is what I did. Take one thing, try it. If it works, fucking great. Whatever you like, what you said, write it down. If that works and it works for you, man, run with it.
Write it down. Burn that motherfucker.
Burn it. Like Usher said.
And you know what? You say to yourself, okay, I'm letting it go, but I'm also releasing it out to the universe because it cannot freaking physically touch you.
Right.
So it shouldn't have that much of a hold on you anymore.
It's a story.
It's just a story.
Yeah.
And we keep repeating it, and it, like you said, it keeps getting bigger.
Yeah. Well,
right?
the stories get better as they get told.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you were fighting a cougar in fucking the mountains of, Utah while you were.
Oh my God. Have you ever seen the movie Big Fish? It is about telling stories, and with each time his dad told the story, it got bigger and bigger.
Oh shit.
And it is an incredible movie.
And I think that's what we go through life with the traumatic events that happen it's not the traumatic event itself that fucks you up. It's the story that you continuously live off of and tell yourself or tell other people.
Right.
That fucks you up because now you're reliving oh my God, let me tell you about that. Oh, it fucked me up so bad. Now you're fucked up again.
Right.
When it's a story.
Right.
You can move past this. Yes, it's a chapter of your life, but like you said, it cannot physically harm you anymore.
Right.
It's just a thought now. It can't touch you.
And I'm just going to say there's so many resources, right? There's vibrational meditation on YouTube. There's microdosing. There's adaptogenics. There's so many different things. And the best part about taking what correctly works for you is that it does open you up to see things quite differently in your life.
Right.
And when all of the noise starts falling away, life becomes very beautiful at a whole nother level.
And it all boils down to like your atmosphere, who you hang out with,
yep.
There's so much, what you watch, what you listen to. There's so many factors that could immediately change you now that could help start the process.
Right.
Don't listen to Metallica when you drive. Like, I can't listen to like heavy shit like that because that makes me.
Unless you're driving the boat and we're out on the ocean and we're fishing, and then that kind of shit just works.
Yes. And you actually went on the trip. Your son got selected, and then when I had the boat, what I was doing was the veteran was able to select whoever they wanted to go with on the trip, and you went with your son. I
went with him. We didn't catch anything that day. However, I will tell you that day was a core memory for him, and he still talks about it. We still talk about it. It was incredible. The dolphins that we saw, the whales that we saw, the tuna that we saw, just the whole experience was something he'll never forget. And that's what it's about. And everybody should be subscribing, right? Because $5 a month, less than one fucking Starbucks coffee, and you're helping people go out on trips like that. And to me, that is just priceless.
I need 100 subscribers, and I could do a trip a month.
There we go, you guys.
That's less than 1%.
Give up one Starbucks. Jeez Louise.
I think we have 18 right now.
That's like, for 2 months, one freaking carne asada burrito.
$60 a year. Come on. What I had a guy that he donated $60. He's like, I don't want to do a subscription. I don't want the subscription. I'd rather just donate, the money. But I'm like, well, when you do the subscription, you get the extra content. Well, I thank you for stopping by, especially on a Sunday. We're almost at 2 hours,
Wow.
which is bullshitting. My ass is a little asleep. But no, I appreciate you coming by, telling your story, telling your point of view, and offering your input for others out there that are listening. So thanks for stopping by. And thanks for your support too.
Oh,
I appreciate
absolutely.
it. Yeah, you got the houndstooth hoodie on. Everyone keeps asking if I'm bringing shit.
So comfortable. It's one of my favorite.
The hats.
hoodies.
Yeah, I've had people ask about that. It's just, God, that's such a pain in the ass. I don't feel like doing it, but whatever.
Whatever.
But thanks for coming by. What's your Instagram? If they or is that private? I don't know.
No, my Instagram is not private. It's as Joey's 3. You can find me Stephanie Valdez Ornelas. If you put that in there, you'll see all my social media pop up. So
if anybody, if it probably mostly females, if they had a question or something, I don't think any males would hit you up, but mostly they hit me up.
I've had a lot of males hit me up in the past for certain things. For moms, definitely,
my male audience would not be hitting you up for
no, probably not.
Hey, I have a question about. So that's why I said mostly it'd probably be the females that are like, hey, I have a question, or things like that. But don't hesitate to hit you up, send
Absolutely.
you a DM, shoot you a follow, and don't forget April 6th.
So April 6th, April 4th, we bring in the wall that heals. We're going to be bringing that in on April 4th by escort. April 6th is going to be our opening day, which is going to be epic.
So you can't go see this until April 6th.
Correct.
You
can see it come in if you want to watch the escort. I think we're coming off Newport in Menifee off the 215, and we're going to parade it down Newport to Marietta Road down to the cemetery. But all those details will be coming. Yeah.
And then do you still need volunteers?
I still need volunteers. I still need organizations, especially if you have a business or an organization in Menifee. The city's really big on having that local support. Please reach out to me, DM me. If you have a Vietnam veteran that you'd like to bring down, I would love to get them on my list. My sister, who is a florist, is going to be doing special boutonnieres for all of our Vietnam veterans. So we're trying to put this together as quick as possible.
Okay, sweet. So there you go. If you guys want to volunteer, if you want to, and then this is at Menifee. What? So
it's going to be at Menifee Memorial Park and Mortuary.
Okay.
The address is 26770 Marietta Road. It's Miller Jones. If anybody knows that name, most of everybody out there knows the Miller Jones mortuaries and cemeteries. So that's where you'll find me.
Okay, awesome. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, and we'll see if we can get the word out and get some people over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
All right, take care.
All right.